Hello, it's me, Mario. Woohoo! You watching GRTV, my favorite. Wahoo!
So now we're behind everything at Bethesda. We're here with Josh from Obsidian Entertainment, who you guys are working on.
Fallout Vegas.
Exactly. Picking it up where Bethesda left it off in Fallout 3. How's that been, taking over such a classic old license?
Well, a lot of the people at Obsidian, by that I mean our founders, were part of the original Fallout games at Black Isle Studios. I was at Black Isle as well and worked on the Van Buren project, which was sort of the canceled Fallout 3 at Black Isle. So for a lot of us, it's kind of like a homecoming, coming back to the franchise. But obviously, you know, we're using Bethesda's technology, and it's a game in the style of Fallout 3. So it's been a kind of interesting mix between our sort of sensibility for how we approach RPGs and the Fallout brand with the gameplay style of the Fallout franchise as envisioned by Bethesda.
Is there anything there from the old Black Isle period that we'll see again in Fallout New Vegas that we didn't see in Fallout 3?
Because we're back on the West Coast, more or less, in Fallout New Vegas, we've brought back a lot of the organizations that people found from Fallout 1 and 2. So the New California Republic is obviously very prominent. Even minor groups and characters like the Gunrunners, Marcus, the super mutant from Fallout 2. There's a lot of little things like that we brought back, but ultimately we decided to make an entirely new story set sort of in the classic setting of the franchise.
How's Las Vegas been to explore through the apocalyptic eyes of Fallout?
Oh, it's been a pretty interesting setting to work with. We've tried to focus on classic Las Vegas, what a lot of people refer to as the Rat Pack era, the late 50s. Because Fallout has always had a sense of retro futurism to it, it's been pretty cool to work with, you know, like that sort of classic Googie style architecture that's found all over Las Vegas, the sort of classic buildings like the Mint, things like that. So it's been really fun to try to incorporate classic Vegas with the sort of Fallout franchise look and feel.
The more open world stuff that of course the old classic Fallout games were quite open as well, pretty much coming from Black Isle, that's not a big surprise. But how's it been working through a third person, first person shooter perspective instead of like isometric 2D as it was back in the day?
Well, because we're using Bethesda technology, we actually had a pretty good idea of how to do it. So, you know, we looked a lot at the density of, you know, Oblivion and also Fallout 3 to get an idea of like how closely should things be spaced, or, you know, how far apart should they be, so that players have a good sense of exploration in the world without feeling like things are too cramped. So I think it would have been much more difficult for us to lay out the world did we not already have, you know, a really good basis from Fallout 3. So it's also can be difficult because you might think, well, there's nothing in the desert, but there's actually a lot of cool stuff in the desert. So we've tried to include a lot of neat little locations, whether they're, you know, springs or, you know, that people use as sort of bases, like raiders might, you know, group around a spring, or old abandoned mine shafts that have monsters in them and things like that, since Las Vegas, the area surrounding it, was full of old silver mines and things like that. So we've, you know, it actually wasn't incredibly hard for us to adapt to the idea of making an open world game in that technology, since there's already so much stuff built with it.
In Fallout 3, if we just stick to a more modern era, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of stuff to see, of course, with the expansion packs added in, but even in the first, just have like vanilla Fallout 3. How much can we expect in New Vegas?
Huge amount. There's, the world is about the same size overall, but there's even more quests. There's really a lot of stuff in the game. Because of all the different characters and political factions that we've sort of focused on in this game, there's really a lot of quests to do, a lot of different factions to work with or work against. So I think people are going to find that there's even more stuff to do in New Vegas than there was in Fallout 3.
How about the storyline in general? You're a messenger without a memory. If my memory serves me correctly, laugh all you want at home with your readily available internet.
You're not an amnesiac. We wanted to make sure that you were not an amnesiac, but you are a courier who's carrying a package from California to New Vegas, and you're ambushed for that package, and then you're basically shot in the head and dropped in a shallow grave and left for dead. You don't die, obviously, or it'd be a pretty short game, but you're recovered by a robot from this nearby town who takes you back, and a doctor there helps you recover. Your character creation process is actually sort of your convalescing and getting used to being alive again. But the first part of the game is basically just you going out into the wasteland and trying to figure out who it was that shot you and what was so important about the package you were carrying. And then from there, it kind of gets more involved in the political aspects because there's this big war going on around you, and so you get drawn into that larger conflict. We thought it was important to have a very simple, personal way to start the game, but in a classic Fallout fashion, you get drawn into a larger conflict that you become a part of.
See, there was a shot in the head thing that got me confused because I remembered that, and then because that's usually how people lose memories in games and movies. Shot in the head, no memory. Yeah. What has it been like for you personally to work on Fallout again?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, when I got into the industry in 1999, I really wanted to work on Fallout 3. So working on Van Buren and then having it canceled was a big disappointment. And you know, everybody has to deal with cancellations. So when this chance came back, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take it easy. I'll believe it when it's on the shelves. That's sort of the way I approached it. But I really love working in the Fallout setting. I'm glad we were able to come back to the franchise and put some new cool stuff into it. So,
as you mentioned, the Cancel Van Buren project, because if there's one hardcore gaming fan out there, it's the classic Fallout fan who's incredibly protective of the license. Is there anything from that Cancel project that you're actually putting in, except for, as you said, the factions of the classic Fallout?
We didn't want to try to like recreate Van Buren. We wanted to start again. So we've tried to stay away from that. The most players will see is like minor characters, minor locations and factions and things like that. But overall, you know, we just wanted to say like, let's just approach this as a new game that sort of carries on the events from more like Fallout 2 really. So we've just tried to logically extrapolate. Well, we said that the Brotherhood of Steel and the New California Republic would eventually go to war. And so we say that did happen. And so when you find the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout New Vegas, if you can find them, they're basically in hiding because they've been at war with NCR for so long. So certain ideas that we've carried over, but overall we just kind of wanted to say, let's just start a new story here with some familiar ideas.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.